Listen closely, because this is not a random moment. And this is not a casual word. Something is shifting even as you listen. You did not click on this by accident. Time itself has been summoned to serve your destiny, and heaven has already marked a date that your enemies overlooked, that your fears underestimated, and that your past could not cancel. There are days that look ordinary on the calendar, but carry extraordinary authority in the spirit. And December 15th, 2025 is one of those days. It holds a breakthrough you did not expect. Not because you were undeserving, but because God delights in surprising those who kept believing even when evidence was silent. There are breakthroughs you pray for, and then there are breakthroughs God plans without consulting your doubt. Some doors do not open because you knocked louder. They open because the appointed time arrived. You have survived seasons where nothing made sense, where delay felt like denial, where silence felt like abandonment. But delay was not punishment. Delay was preparation. God was aligning people, repositioning resources, rearranging authority, and refining your discernment, so you would not mishandle what is about to be released. You thought you were waiting on God, but God was waiting on timing. You were asking for speed, while God was securing sustainability. What is coming is not a temporary victory that excites you for a moment and then drains you for a lifetime. This breakthrough carries structure. It carries weight. It carries responsibility. And that is why it could not arrive early. December 15th, 2025 is not about luck. It is about divine orchestration. It is a kind of day where one phone call alters direction, one conversation changes access, one decision unlocks favor that has been stored up for years. The reason it feels unexpected is because it will bypass the routes you assume God would use. He will not always answer through the familiar. Sometimes he answers through interruption. Sometimes he answers through disruption. Sometimes he answers through something ending so something greater can begin. You are entering a season where God will do things differently than before, because you are not the same person you were before. You have grown in ways you cannot measure. You have endured pressure that matured your faith. You have learned obedience when it was inconvenient. You have learned how to stand without applause. You have learned how to pray without panic. You have learned how to trust without clarity. And now, because you did not quit in obscurity, God is about to reward you openly. This breakthrough will not look like what you imagined, but it will accomplish what you prayed for. Some of you asked for relief, but God is giving you authority. Some of you asked for provision, but God is giving you position. Some of you asked for rescue, but God is giving you strategy, because what he is releasing now is not just to help you survive. It is to establish you. Do not underestimate what God can do in one day. Scripture is full of moments where everything changed suddenly. One day Joseph was in a prison cell, and the next day he was governing a nation. One day Ruth was gleaning leftovers, and the next day she was redeemed into legacy. One day Esther was hidden, and the next day she was positioned to save a people. Time does not intimidate God. Systems do not restrict him. Resistance does not exhaust him. What makes this breakthrough unexpected is that it will come after you made peace with waiting. You stop forcing. You stop chasing. You stop begging. You learn how to rest while trusting. And when you stop striving, God started accelerating, because acceleration always follows alignment. You may not see it yet, but heaven has already gone ahead of you. Conversations are happening without you in the room. Decisions are being made in your favor by people who do not even know your full story. Opposition that once blocked you is being moved quietly. Resistance is losing leverage. The environment is shifting. The atmosphere is responding. And by the time you arrive at December 15th, 2025, what once looked impossible will feel inevitable. This breakthrough will challenge your identity, because you've been preparing for struggle longer than you have prepared for success. God is about to bless you in ways that require emotional maturity, spiritual discipline, and mental renewal. You will need to learn how to receive without guilt, how to lead without shrinking, how to walk in favor without apologizing, because elevation will expose what humility truly is. Do not sabotage this moment by rehearsing old narratives. You are not who you used to be. You are not limited by what failed before. You are not defined by what did not work last time. This season requires a new language, a new expectation, and a new posture. You cannot enter a new dimension with an old mindset. God is not just changing your circumstances. He is upgrading your capacity. He is stretching your vision so you do not settle for what is comfortable. He is strengthening your discernment so you do not partner with what is familiar but fruitless. He is refining your voice so you speak with authority and not apology. Some of you are about to see prayers answered that you stopped mentioning because you assumed they were unrealistic. Some of you are about to step into rooms you never thought would open for you. Some of you are about to receive opportunities that confirm the struggle was not wasted. And when it happens, it will not be loud at first. It will be subtle. It will be quiet. It will be a shift you almost miss if you are not paying attention. That is why discernment is critical in this season. Not every open door is your door. Not every opportunity is aligned with purpose. This breakthrough is not about doing more. It is about doing what is assigned. Precision matters now. Obedience matters now. Timing matters now. God is repositioning you so that what comes next will not drain you the way the last season did. He is teaching you how to move with wisdom, not just passion, how to lead with clarity, not just intensity, how to build with patience, not just urgency. What is coming will require you to trust God at a deeper level because the breakthrough will stretch you beyond your comfort zone. Comfort cannot coexist with calling at this level. Growth will demand surrender. Expansion will demand discipline. Increase will demand stewardship. But hear this clearly. You will not be overwhelmed. You will be empowered. You will not be confused. You will be guided. You will not be alone. You will be supported. Because when God releases a breakthrough, He also releases grace to sustain it. December 15th, 2025 is a marker in time. It is a line between what was and what will be. Not everything will change overnight, but everything will begin to change from that point forward. Momentum will shift. Resistance will weaken. Clarity will increase. You are stepping into a season where your obedience will speak louder than your effort, where alignment will produce results faster than striving ever did, where favor will accomplish what force never could. Stay expectant. Stay grounded. Stay obedient. Do not rush the process, but do not doubt the promise. God has not forgotten you. He has been intentional about you. And what He is about to do will confirm that every tear, every delay, every closed door, and every season of silence was shaping you for a breakthrough you didn't expect. There are moments in time that look ordinary to the natural eye, but carry extraordinary weight in the spirit. And divine timing is one of the most misunderstood dimensions of faith. When God marks a moment, it does not always announce itself with noise or warning. Often it arrives quietly, disguised as just another day, while heaven treats it as a turning point. Divine timing is not delayed timing, and it is not reactive timing. It is intentional, precise, and perfectly synchronized with purpose. What you interpreted as waiting was not absence, but alignment. While you were counting days, God was calibrating destiny. Many people struggle with timing because they assume that if God wanted to move, He would move immediately. But immediacy is not proof of divinity. Maturity requires seasons. Capacity must be developed. Some doors cannot open until the weight of what lies behind them can be carried. If certain prayers have been answered too early, they would have crushed you instead of crowned you. Timing is mercy disguised as restraint. Divine timing does not respond to pressure, tears, or frustration. It responds to alignment. God does not rush because rushing produces outcomes without roots. He waits until character can sustain calling, until wisdom can govern opportunity, until discernment can protect access. What felt like silence was God refusing to release something prematurely and allowing it to be damaged by immaturity or mismanagement. There are things God reserves for specific moments because timing determines impact. The same blessing released at the wrong time can become a burden. The same opportunity received too early can become a trap. That is why God is never late. Even when it feels uncomfortable, He operates beyond urgency and beneath panic. He moves when conditions are spiritually ripe, not emotionally demanding. When a date is appointed by God, it carries authority. It overrides patterns, breaks cycles, and interrupts stagnation. Divine timing does not negotiate with history. It does not consult past failures. It does not need permission from circumstances. When the moment arrives, resistance weakens and alignment accelerates. Things that required effort suddenly respond to favor. This is why certain breakthroughs happen suddenly after long periods of nothing. It is not because God just noticed you. It is because the moment finally arrived where everything could move at once. Timing compresses years of struggle into moments of clarity. One conversation replaces years of explanation. One opportunity erases seasons of rejection. One decision shifts direction permanently. God's timing also exposes the illusion of control. You realize how little you actually orchestrated and how much was divinely arranged. People you never planned to meet appear. Resources you never budgeted for show up. Doors you stopped knocking on open on their own. Timing reveals that God was working behind the scenes while you were learning patience in the foreground. Divine timing requires trust because it rarely aligns with comfort. It stretches faith, challenges assumptions, and dismantles false expectations. You learn that waiting does not mean wasting. You discover that preparation happens even when progress is invisible. Timing teaches you how to rest without quitting and how to believe without proof. There's also accountability in divine timing. When God moves at the appointed moment, excuses disappear. You can no longer blame delay or circumstance. The responsibility shifts to obedience. Timing creates momentum, but alignment sustains it. What God releases in a moment must be stewarded over time. This is why divine timing feels unexpected. Not because God was unpredictable, but because human expectation was limited. You anticipated movement through familiar patterns, but God shows precision over predictability. When the appointed time arrives, it feels sudden but has been planned all along, quietly unfolding while you are being positioned to recognize it when it appears. Breakthrough that is sustained is never produced by force. It is the result of alignment. Striving creates motion, but alignment creates momentum. Many people exhaust themselves trying to push doors that are designed to open on their own when the correct season arrives. What looks like effort in the natural can sometimes be resistance in the spirit. When God intends to move, He does not need your anxiety to assist Him. He needs your obedience, your trust, and your willingness to stand still long enough for clarity to emerge. Striving is often rooted in fear. The fear of missing out, the fear of being left behind, the fear that if you stop pushing, everything will collapse. But faith teaches you that what is built by pressure will always demand pressure to be sustained. God never calls you maintain something He did not authorize. When He is the source, He is also the sustainer. That is why alignment matters more than effort in this season. There is a moment when God invites you to release control, not because control is evil, but because it is limited. You can only manage what you can see, but God governs what you cannot. Alignment happens when you will yield to His wisdom, when your desire submits to His design. In that place, striving loses its power and peace becomes productive. Breakthrough without star. Iving does not mean inactivity. It means intentional obedience. It means moving when instructed and resting when commanded. It means understanding that not every open door is yours to walk through, and not every delay is meant to be fought. Some delays are meant to teach you how to trust timing over tension. When alignment is present, effort decreases and results increase. Things that once required constant pushing begin to flow naturally. Conversations become easier. Opportunities feel lighter. Resistance no longer drains you because you are no longer fighting in the wrong direction. Alignment simplifies what striving complicates. Many people miss their breakthrough because they are too busy trying to control the outcome instead of discerning the instruction. God does not bless chaos. He blesses order. When your inner world is aligned, your outer world responds. Peace becomes a signal that you are moving correctly. Confusion becomes a warning that something is out of order. Striving also blinds discernment. When you are desperate, everything looks like an answer. When you are aligned, you can say no without fear and yes without hesitation. Alignment sharpens perception. It allows you to recognize divine timing and divine opportunity without forcing connection. There's a rest that is not passive but powerful. It is the kind of rest that trusts God to work while you prepare. It is the kind of rest that allows Him to handle what you cannot manipulate. This rest is not laziness. It is faith in motion beneath the surface. Breakthrough that comes through alignment protects you from burnout. It protects your joy. It protects your calling. God is not interested in giving you something that costs you your peace to keep. When he brings increase, he brings in a way that does not destroy you. This season is teaching you that you do not have to chase what is assigned. What is for you will respond to alignment. What requires constant forcing is not sustained by grace. Alignment removes the need to perform, prove, or compete. It allows you to function from identity instead of insecurity. When striving ends, acceleration begins. Not because you did more, but because you finally moved in the right direction. Alignment positions you where one step accomplishes what years of effort could not. It is not about speed. It is about placement. When you are positioned correctly, heaven does the heavy lifting. What often feels like delay is actually preparation in disguise. Waiting seasons are rarely empty. They are full of unseen activity, shaping what will be revealed later. God uses time as a tool not to frustrate you, but to fortify you. Every postponed answer, every slow progression, every closed door is part of a refining process designed to increase your capacity, not diminish your worth. Delay is not evidence of disfavor. It is often proof of intention. Preparation through delay works on levels you cannot measure. While you were focused on outcomes, God was working on character. While you were asking for release, he was strengthening restraint. While you were praying for access, he was developing discernment. Some things cannot be taught quickly because they must be learned deeply. Wisdom that sustains breakthrough cannot be rushed. Delay exposes motives. It reveals whether you want the promise or the process, the platform or the preparation, the reward or the responsibility. Waiting strips away entitlement and replaces it with humility. It teaches you how to serve without recognition and believe without reassurance. These lessons are not optional. They are protective. Without them, success becomes dangerous. In delay, God teaches you how to hear him without relying on constant confirmation. Faith matures when it is no longer dependent on immediate results. You learn to move by conviction rather than validation. You discover how to obey even when progress is invisible. This depth of trust is what stabilizes you when the breakthrough finally arrives. Preparation also includes pruning. During seasons of delay, certain relationships fade, distractions lose their appeal, and priorities are rearranged. What once felt necessary suddenly feels heavy. God removes what cannot go where you are headed. This is not loss, it is refinement. Carrying excess into a new season would slow you down and compromise what is being built. Delay also strengthens emotional endurance. You learn how to manage disappointment without becoming bitter. You learn how to hope without becoming naive. You learn how to trust without losing discernment. These emotional muscles are essential because breakthrough brings pressure of a different kind. Without preparation, increase would overwhelm you. God uses delay to align you internally before he promotes you externally. He addresses insecurity before exposure, impatience before influence, and fear before responsibility. This internal alignment ensures that when doors open, you enter with stability rather than anxiety. Many people assume preparation ends when opportunity begins, but preparation actually continues through waiting. The discipline you develop in delay becomes a structure that holds success together. The habits you form in obscurity become the safeguards that protect visibility. Delay also teaches gratitude. When you wait long enough, you stop taking progress for granted. You recognize that every step forward is grace, not entitlement. This gratitude anchors you when recognition increases, and applause grows louder. What you endured during delay becomes part of your authority. You speak with credibility because you live through the process. You lead with compassion because you understand struggle. Preparation through delay gives you substance, not just position. Nothing in waiting is wasted. Every season of delay deposits something necessary for the next level. Even when it felt stagnant, growth was occurring beneath the surface. Roots were deepening. Stability was forming. Capacity was increasing. When the moment of release arrives, it will not expose your weakness. It will reveal your readiness. God rarely uses predictable pathways to deliver extraordinary outcomes. When he decides to move, he often bypasses familiar routes and chooses methods that challenge human logic. This is why breakthroughs frequently arrive through unexpected channels. You anticipate answers through what you know, who you trust, and what feels reasonable. But God is not limited to your assumptions. He specializes in interruption because interruption creates attention, and attention sharpens discernment. Unexpected pathways stretch faith because they require surrender. You cannot control what you cannot anticipate. When God moves outside your expectations, it forces you to rely on trust rather than strategy. This is not to confuse you, but to free you from dependency on methods that once worked but are no longer aligned. Familiarity can become a limitation when it replaces obedience. Breakthroughs that come through unexpected pathways often begin with disruption. Something ends without explanation. A door closes that you thought was secure. A plan falls apart at the last moment. At first it feels like loss, but disruption is often redirection. God removes what no longer fits, so you can recognize what truly belongs in the next season. Unexpected does not mean unplanned. God's routes are intentional. Even when they surprise you, He knows exactly how to position you for maximum impact. He will use people who are not part of your original vision. He will open doors you never knocked on. He will resolve problems through solutions you never considered. What feels sudden to you has been forming quietly behind the scenes. These pathways also protect you. If God revealed everything in advance, fear or pride might interfere. Surprise keeps you dependent. It prevents manipulation and control. It ensures that glory remains with God and not human effort. When the breakthrough arrives through an unexpected way, you recognize that it could not have happened without divine involvement. Unexpected pathways demand discernment. Not every surprise is divine, and not every disruption is an attack. Wisdom is required to differentiate between distraction and direction. God will always confirm His leading through peace. Even when the route is unfamiliar, confusion creates urgency, but divine guidance produces clarity. Even in transition, many people miss their breakthrough because they cling to how they think it should happen. They ignore what God is doing because it does not match their expectations. Flexibility becomes essential. Obedience means letting go of good plans to embrace better ones. Resistance to change can delay what God is trying to accelerate. God also uses unexpected pathways to expose trust. When outcomes no longer depend on your effort or influence, faith is revealed. You learn to rely on God's ability rather than your preparation. This dependence does not weaken you. It strengthens your relationship with Him. These pathways often arrive quietly. A simple conversation, a subtle idea, a small opportunity that seems insignificant, but within it is a seed of transformation. Breakthrough does not always announce itself with noise. Sometimes it whispers. Those who are attentive recognize significance before scale. Unexpected pathways also expand perspective. They reveal possibilities you never imagined. They teach you that God's creativity far exceeds human planning. Once you experience breakthrough this way, your trust deepens. You stop limiting God to previous patterns. God is inviting you to release rigid expectations and embrace divine surprise. What is coming may not look like the answer you envisioned, but will fulfill the purpose you prayed for. When you follow God's leading through unfamiliar territory, you discover that His way not only reaches a destination, it transforms you along the journey. Elevation always demands a renewed mindset, because increase exposes what limitation concealed. When God begins to lift you, old thinking can no longer support new responsibility. The breakthrough you are stepping into will require emotional discipline, spiritual maturity, and mental clarity. You cannot carry expanded influence with a restricted identity. God is not just opening doors. He is reshaping how you see yourself, so you can walk through them without shrinking. Many people pray for elevation, but resist transformation. They want new outcomes without new perspectives. Yet every level comes with its own demands. What worked in survival will not work in stewardship. What sustained you in lack will not govern you in abundance. God is inviting you to release the mindset that was formed in struggle and adopt one that can manage growth. A renewed mindset understands that favor is not something to apologize for. It is not arrogance to accept what God assigns. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. It is thinking accurately about what God has entrusted to you. When you diminish yourself, you misrepresent the one who elevated you. Confidence rooted in obedience honors God. This season also requires boundaries. Elevation attracts attention, but not all access is healthy. Discernment becomes essential. You must learn when to say no without guilt and when to say yes without fear. A renewed mindset values purpose over approval and alignment over popularity. It understands that protecting capacity is part of stewardship. God is also renewing your language. You can no longer speak from past defeat while living in present favor. Words shape atmosphere. What you declare reinforces what you believe. A renewed mindset aligns confession with calling. You speak possibility instead of limitation, expectation instead of fear, authority instead of apology. Breakthrough also tests identity. When recognition increases, insecurity can surface. When responsibility expands, fear of failure can whisper. A renewed mindset remains anchored. It knows that identity is not defined by success or failure, but by assignment. This stability allows you to lead without pressure and serve without performance. Elevation requires adaptability. You must be willing to learn, adjust, and grow. God often blesses beyond your previous experience, not to embarrass you, but to expand you. A renewed mindset embraces learning as strength, not weakness. It understands that growth is continuous, not conditional. This breakthrough will also require stewardship of peace. Chaos is not a sign of productivity. God's increase is accompanied by order. A renewed mindset prioritizes rest, reflection, and rhythm. You move with intention, not urgency. You build with wisdom, not impulse.